Rosalyn had endured disappointing birthdays before, but never one in ankle-deep corpse sludge. She shifted her boots out of the reddish muck, swallowing hard as her feet suctioned to the floor. The job got more familiar, but not easier. Never easier. And this was way beyond skin slippage. This was putrefaction on a level she had never seen before in person. Digital images just didn't capture it, really. The microscopic bacteria on the bodies were having a field day, turning once soft but decidedly human humans into a soup as dark and hideous as black gut blood. The kind of blood one never wanted to see squirt out of anything. But now she had to look at it. Now it was her job. Witnessing autopsies paled in comparison. Rosalyn closed her eyes tightly, feeling an unwelcome roiling in her stomach. The first time she saw a corpse cut open, she had excused herself from the cold, sterile lab to vomit. At private school, during dissection week, she had ducked out of the lab and away from the fetal pig on a tray and into the lavatory, swiping a bit of perfume under her nose. The smell of formaldehyde made her sick. She had to train herself to forget that sour taste in her mouth, to refocus away from the disgusting reality of decomposition, and turn instead toward one simple fact. These had all been people once, people with families, and those families deserved answers and some small remnant of the deceased to bury. Dignity, somehow, would be fished out of this. Rosalyn opened her eyes but decided not to finish her thought. The heavy vacuum canister on her back was already full, and she made her way along the edge of the ship's cargo hold toward the giant containment crate labeled hazardous, with its bright yellow plastic and 24 warning stickers. She turned down the environmental volume on her sealed suit, desperate not to hear the sound of her own boots sloshing through the remains of 10 dead crew. Her co-workers, distantly. She didn't know any of them. Not really. But she recognized a few of the names on the manifest. People she had heard called over the intercom back at the Mercantia Solutions campus. Tate Alonzo, Ade Tyrol, Jai Gimble.
At least they caught the bastard.
What? Rosalyn shouted back. She adjusted the volume on her helmet with the LED panel attached to her suit's wrist, and spun to find her living co-worker, Owen Cardew, staring back at her with wide eyes. Tapping the side of her head, she frowned.
Sorry, I went silent.
Owen nodded and joined her in the cargo hold, wading into the horror seeping across the corrugated floor.
They caught him. He's in custody. Sick fuck jacked the heat all the way up after he dumped the bodies in here.
Yeah, that explains a lot, Rosalyn muttered. The raw truth of a body could be horrible. It could be beautiful, too, she thought. But lately she was just seeing the horrible parts. She had accepted the crew and ship salvaging job so abruptly that it took a while for the reality of the assignment to really sink in. Now it was sinking in. And hard. She closed her eyes again for a moment, then drew in a long, shaky breath and detached the vac from her suit, transferring the remains into the yellow containment bin. With hours of work ahead of them, she felt the creep of exhaustion start in her limbs. Irritating little lights twinkled in front of her eyes. A headache brewing. The cruel reminders that she was a shipwright and an hour-long shower away from a stiff drink. It could be worse, she insisted. It could be like her second assignment, when a research vessel employee foolishly brought their cat aboard, and the thing had hidden an event until it died. After the ship returned, it had been Rosalyn's job to crawl into the narrow space and clean out the carcass. Her co-workers insisted it wasn't hazing, but they all had a good chuckle while she crammed her body into the vent. "Happy birthday to me," she murmured, turning back to the job.
You're not serious.
Owen snorted and then sagged, pausing with the suction nozzle on his vacuum just above the pool of decomposed bodies.
Oh, God. You are serious?